Okay, we are at Southern California Wool Company, and one of our very favorite shepherds who breeds Romneys, Cormos, and Corriedales. They are all extremely well-bred and championship fleeces. They get shown all over, and he keeps them coated, which is a huge amount of work if you know anything about coating. And we're here today with one of our favorite shearers, Graciano, and his team, and Mauricio. George is working with Alicia over there. There's a couple of sheared sheep, so we're going to just follow along and watch them bring up the next one. For anybody who is concerned about sheep that are getting sheared, this is a necessary function for sheep. They aren't hurt. Graciano and Mauricio are very delicate with the sheep, as much as the sheep allow, and nothing hurts the sheep through this process. So they're prepared ahead of time. You want to have the sheep ready for shearing. You want to have them sorted appropriately, and you see how easily Graciano gets this sheep into position, protects her, and starts shearing. And the dog is helping today. I don't know how much help the dog is being, but the dog is here helping. And starting with the belly, we're just going to get off this belly wool. And as you can see, this nice clean skin comes up underneath. And he uses his left hand to keep the skin taut so that the shears don't have any chance to nick or anything, though it's a very safe process. I know there's a lot of concern about sheep shearing and whether it's dangerous or hard on the sheep. And as you can see, this sheep is very, very calm. She's been sheared before, and she's happy to get rid of this mess of matted fleece. Graciano's a really, really skilled shearer who does this throughout Southern California, and really has a very calm and effective way of shearing, getting rid of the fleece that none of us really want. That goes off to the side. Now, George's sheep are also very used to being handled. These are not range sheep. These are sheep who, as I said, they're coated. They're not out on the range. They're not getting burrs. If you're interested in any of George's fleeces, he's on Fiber Artist Market, Southern California Wool Company, and he has beautiful, beautiful fleeces. Look at this one that Alicia just finished skirting and is getting ready to bag up. This is just an amazing fleece. Look at the crimp on this. And trust me, it is so soft. This is a spinner's dream. So the fleeces go directly from here onto the skirting table and get skirted right away. George is really careful about not having any second cuts or as minimal of unneeded wool in his fleeces as possible.
Come around over this side.
I'm going to come over on this side and take a look.
I'm showing you something is I kind of changed up a pattern here to make sure that George or whoever that's keeping the fleece, but all of this, they don't want any of this.
Right.
Anything that's covered by the blanket, you can see the marks on the sheep over there.
Right.
That's what we want to give the best of. So we clean all this off first, so they don't have to skirt as much.
And if you can't tell from the video, we're down at the bottom end of the sheep, and we're getting rid of the stuff that would be full of debris that none of us really want to clean up, and also is not covered, as Graciano said, by the coats that the sheep wear. So when you're getting a fleece from Graciano and from George, you know that you're getting a fleece that you're going to be able to use and is not going to be full of a lot of debris or second cuts. And you see how carefully he goes around the legs there. This is an area where you have to be very careful because there are a lot of tendons close by, and nicking the skin or nicking a tendon is obviously a very bad thing. I've never seen this shearer do that, and we really appreciate his carefulness with the sheep. This also helps when the sheep are giving birth. You don't want to have a lot of matted wool around the birth canal. As the baby's coming out, you want it as clean as possible. So there are a lot of health and safety reasons for getting them clean. Now this is different than what is frequently called mucling, which is done sometimes some places, but that is not what this is.
Alrighty, Maury. Get that stuff out of here so they don't get inside of Georgia, and take this with you too.
Keeping the shearing floor clean and keeping all of the waste wool out of the way is really important. Some people like this waste wool with the poop and the pee in it for mulching. That's certainly a good use of it.
Here's another little piece, Mauricio.
But for hand spinners, not so much.
Okay. All right, out of here. There you go, bud. Okay. Here we go for the blanket. That's nice and clean out of the way.
And now we get the good stuff. Look at that beautiful, beautiful wool underneath. Now the outside, even though it's been coated, it's always going to be dirty. There's always going to be grime and lanolin. That's just a part of sheep. Look at how beautiful that fleece is coming off, though. Graziano and Mauricio make this look like it's so easy, but believe me, this is back-breaking work. And to do, I think they're doing 30 sheep today. This is hard work. Keeping the sheep calm, keeping the shepherd happy, having weirdos video you the whole time. That takes some skill. Look at that beautiful white blanket. Can't you just imagine what you could spin and make with this? Oh my gosh. I'll show you a close-up here. We'll look at it after Alicia gets it skirted today. And you see how calm the sheep is through all this. She doesn't particularly love it, but she isn't hating it either. Kind of like when you get your kids their first haircut. They're a little bit nervous, but love it after they're done.
Rope.
That is a beautiful fleece. Amazing.
Now you'll notice all this stuff over here George doesn't really like, or the Southern California Wool Company doesn't like. You see,
Right.
There's no point in me putting this with that, because he's gonna, all this debris and all this.
Right, yeah, you
So
see how much dirt there is up above where the coat goes. So Graciano takes this off and it doesn't go with George's fleeces.
If I sheared that stuff, it would all fall into his good stuff, and he doesn't want that. So we want it nice and clean, right? So then I'll go ahead and take this part off.
So
This is all garbage, so I can do whatever I want, right?
Yep, we get her neck and her head here. Get rid of this fleece, the leg fleece that nobody really wants. Now sometimes when you buy a fleece, and you have to be careful, this will all be a part of your fleece. And I know there are some of you out there who like to get every last tiny bit of it and use it for composting or bird's nests or whatever. And that's great. I certainly use my waste fleece for those things. But when you're buying from George at the Southern California Wool Company, you're not going to get this stuff. He only sells the best blanket, and they are truly beautiful. Look how thick this is. He says, "Get this off of me." One of the things we all really appreciate about Graciano and his team is that he understands the spinners among us, and he listens to the shepherds and gives the shearing the way the shepherds need it to be done, and not just the fastest, quickest way. And that's really important when you're breeding and showing and selling to hand spinners and to people who really understand their wool, is to have a shearer who doesn't have second cuts. You'll notice he doesn't go back over the same spot. You don't get those little second cuts. And keeping this wool that we don't want out of the way is really important.
And that's one reason that I take that blanket and I move it first, right? This is not real super bad, but he doesn't really have use for this. So why even contaminate?
Right, and we really appreciate that. Now I know that, like myself, there are some folks out there going, but that's beautiful. I love that. I want that. And yeah, it's true. There are some of us who would take the time and the energy to process that, even that neck wool and the leg wool. But if you're really wanting to obtain and to spin a fleece that requires minimal preparation, you want to just get that blanket. And we're going to watch this finish up. And then he only has 29 more to go. My back already hurts just watching this. And now she looks all nice and clean. And we're here in a hot southern part of the country. And even though it's cool for us here, it's still getting into the 80s, sometimes the 90s. And so these fleece really actually appreciate being shorn and getting rid of some of this heavy wool.
I'm going to look at my phone after this. Okay? Put the halter on there? Yeah, you got it. Hey, you thought I didn't see that? I knew what I was doing the whole time.
Now when the shearers are here, with some of the flocks and with some of the breeders, they will need to also trim the hooves, give shots. sometimes
Yep.
worm them. I think George takes care of all that on his own, but there she is, and she's ready to go. And there's that waist wool.
Hello.
And we'll walk over here and we'll take a look at what Alicia's doing to prepare these. And Alicia is our friend who has Hilltop
Terrace.
Hilltop Terrace. I always forget the terrace part. And she came to help out today with skirting. So if you've ever wondered what skirting is, this is skirting. Got to lay that fleece out that's just come off. And then you go around the edges and you want to take off all the bits of poop and pee and any debris that's outside of the good fleece area. And when you first start doing this, there's always the, oh, but that's good wool, I could clean it, I love this wool. But you quickly learn that it is not worth your time to try to process this bad stuff.
Unless you really like processing.
Yeah, unless you really like processing.
Because I have cleaned them up before.
Yep, and like me, Alicia will take some of the lesser wool, and I just throw mine into a suet bucket, let it suet, and then I use it for bird houses, for felting, for plant baskets. Because I honestly don't care if there's still a little poop and pee in that. It probably helps the plants, but for the spinners, it matters. And you can see our next little one over there and our helpful dog.
Too much V on here.
Yeah, this is another beautiful fleece. George, can you tell us about this sheep, this fleece?
Oh, what do you tell about a fleece?
Well, let's mention what breed it is.
This is a Corriedale.
This is one of the Corriedales, which we love.
Ewe,
She's got these beautiful long locks,
and
which,
it's got good crimp on it.
yep, little more than 4 inches. And look at that crimp, and look how white and clean it is.
Next thing you do is you test it like this. Make sure you don't have any weak points in it.
It doesn't break. And what you can't hear on my video is there's a little ping when you do that.
That's right.
And you don't want to hear a crack or a crackle. You want to hear a nice clear ping.
Also, then you start looking at coloration of it, and this is good color. A little bit of lanolin is causing the slight off color of this, and it will wash out to an absolutely white, pure fleece, very much like this is here.
Just beautiful. This is just an absolutely gorgeous fleece. And
This would probably be in high enough quality that we could use it as a show fleece if we wanted to, and enter different fairs. Last year we entered Monterey, which was the only one that had wool show going, and we got reserve grand champion on the whole show. So last year we won it. This year we didn't.
wow, that's really important. So George, about how long can sheep produce good wool? How many years do you get out of a sheep?
I haven't found much difference. After the first year, the young lambs will give a slightly finer wool, but after that it kind of settles in. And we've got wool from sheep that are up to 7, 8 years old, and we haven't noticed any difference in them.
That's great. And here in Southern California, you breed and lamb twice a year, right?
No, once
No,
a year.
you just are going for once a year. Okay.
We don't have any reason to do that. It just doesn't make any sense to do it. In fact, we're lucky to get one a year out of these guys.
We're looking over at, when he says these guys, we're looking over at these guys over here.
We do have 3 lambs over at the corner.
Oh, we have some lambs. We're going to go take a look at those lambs now.
Yeah. Go down the aisle there between.
All right.
They're cornrows.
Oh, let's look at these little Cormo lambs. Oh, there we are, down here between the hay bales. Oh, look at these little guys. Hello, little guys. Hi. Oh, you're curious, aren't you? You want to say hello. Hi, buddy. Yeah, you're adorable, aren't you? And there's your little brother, it looks like. Yeah. And look at this little one. You're brand new, aren't you? Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, I think that's a really great place to end.